Oxygenaddict Triathlon Podcast. We're brought to you every week by our sponsors, precisionhydration.com. Precision Hydration offer electrolyte drinks in different strengths to match how you sweat. You can personalize your hydration strategy today at precisionhydration.com and get a free box or tube of pH worth up to $9.99 using the code Oxygenaddict. We're also brought to you by foodcell.co.uk, the next generation of top tube nutritional carrier for your bike, designed to allow endurance triathletes and cyclists to carry enough food and gels while allowing easy access. You can check it out at foodcell.co.uk. And we're also brought to you by teamoxygenaddict.com triathlon coaching, helping hundreds of age group triathletes see huge improvements in the 70.3 and Ironman performances. The time training system will make sure you get the important training done each week in a way that complements the rest of your life. All right, everyone. This week we've got a cracking interview with India Lee. India Lee she's amongst the great British 70.3 athletes that are emerging at the moment. She's a former runner. She only did her first triathlon in 2013, but she's already won a World Cup, an ETU European Championship, 2 Ironman 70.3s, and she took silver in the mixed relay WTS Edmonton on a borrowed bike. So Helen's got a fantastic interview with her coming up later on, so stay tuned in for that. Now, before that, we've got a Coach's Couch question this week. Now, what I want to talk to you this week about is essentially challenges that you're going to have dealing with heart rate when it's really hot outside. We've had a lot of periods of hot weather at the moment, and this has been triggered by some comments by the guys in our private Facebook group who have been trying to analyze the run performance and have been looking for improvements in the run by tracking their steady pace against heart rate. And for the vast majority of the year, this works really, really well, because what athletes typically see is, while we don't have them do very much, if any, hard running for the 70.3 and Ironman distance, certainly, what they see is they do a lot of steady running, they don't get injured, but they see a progressive drop in the heart rate across time. So while they maybe are running at, say, 160 beats a minute at 5-minute Ks at the start of the year, that might drop down to 140 beats a minute, or maybe even lower at the same kind of pace as they're approaching their goal race. However, this gets really badly messed with when it gets hot, and especially when we've got crazy heat at the moment in these periods of summer that we've been having. So some of the athletes have been getting a bit disheartened and saying, look, I've been out and done my steady run, and either to hold my heart rate where I think it should be, I've had to go much slower than I think I should, or my heart rate's much higher than it should be for the given pace. Am I basically losing fitness? Am I getting much, much slower for a given heart rate? Does it show that my fitness is falling apart? And the answer to that is no. What's happening is, when it's hot, your body's got 2 uses for heart rate. The first use of heart rate is it's pumping oxygen to your muscles. And that's our traditional way of measuring, basically as you get fitter, your heart beats slower because your muscles are more efficient at using that oxygen. However, the second use of that heart is we're pumping the blood to the surface of your skin, because that's how your body has a cooling mechanism. So when you run in the heat or you exercise in the heat, there's an additional cardiac stress in order to get that blood to the skin so that we can keep you cool. So it's almost as though you've got to accept your heart rate is going to be higher when you run outdoors, and it's almost artificially raised. It's not higher because your muscles need more oxygen. It's higher because, as well as that demand, it's also trying to shuffle it past the skin. So more of it's got to go around. You haven't got more blood, so it's the same volume of blood has got to go round faster in order to get it to the skin and your muscles. That's effectively what's happening in simple terms. But it can be very demoralizing for guys who are using their pace against heart rate as a metric for improving fitness. So it's just my chance to say, look, it's okay if you're running along, still stay running in your pace zones, even if your heart rate is 10 or 12 beats a minute higher than you think it should be. If it's a hot day, it's almost certainly, if not certainly, just down to the fact that you're running when it's hot and it's the heat stress on your body. The real cue here is your breathing. Your breathing is not going to be affected by the heat. So if your pace is normal, your breathing is normal, but your heart rate is raised, that heart rate is higher because of the heat stress that's on you. Okay. So I just want to say to people that it's okay. You've got to keep the faith. We've advised some of our athletes, and some people in particular, ones who are driven by results, they need to go out and do a run race to reassure the minds, and that's fine. Go and do a 10K, do a half marathon. Reassure yourself that you are on track by doing a hard run. As long as you don't get drawn into doing it really frequently, that's okay. But Take it from me, this raised heart rate in the heat is entirely down to the heat stress put on your body. Okay, so we've got a free download available at the moment called Analyzing Your Race Performance. It's a document you can download a copy for yourself from our website via the link in the show notes, and it helps you have a look at your race that you've just had through an analytical set of eyes. It's the same questions I would ask you face to face, and it allows you to see the things that went well and the things that perhaps didn't go so well and the reasons behind that. Perhaps it'll uncover some of the decisions that you made that weren't part of your race plan that you ended up making in the heat of the moment, and that might explain maybe why things didn't go to plan later on. So once you've been through that, if you feel you've not had the race that you deserved or expected, you're interested in finding out how training with Team Oxygenaddict and our time training system can help you unlock your performance, I'm offering a couple of free training consultations each week during the summer where you can talk through your training and your results with me over Skype. There's a link in the show notes. Pop your email address in there and I'll email you to work out a time that works for us both. We've had quite a lot of people responding to this. If I've not got you just yet, I've got bits of holidays and stuff going on during the summer as well, so I will get to you. It just might take me into September in order to get to you, so please be patient with that. So we've got a little team testimonial here from team member Laura Ongaro. Here's how her experience of training with Team Oxygenaddict has been.
I'm a single full-time working mum of one daughter, so like a lot of age groupers, the juggle is real for me. I've been doing triathlon for about 10 years now, not with any real purpose or intent. I would do sprint distances, I would throw in the occasional Olympic, but I never really trained with any consistency, and so I never really saw any progression. So about a year ago now, I decided to go long and I set myself some really challenging goals. I wanted to do 70.3 Mallorca, and then I wanted to follow that up with a full at Copenhagen. So I came out into the market for a coach because I thought if I was going to do it, I was going to do it properly. And frankly, I don't know very much about Ironman training, so probably better to talk to somebody who does. There was quite a lot in the philosophy of the time training system that really appealed to me. I loved the emphasis on training to avoid injury. I loved the emphasis on training within yourself and it being about your own goals. And I was really keen to give it a go. And it's safe to say that that was one of the best decisions that I've ever made. It's not an understatement to say that the programme has changed my life, certainly my athletic life, but it's had a massive impact on all areas of my life. Everybody loves the numbers, so here's some numbers for you. I have doubled my FTP. I have dropped almost 40 seconds per 100 metres off my swim times, and my run times are coming along just as well. And just to put that into perspective, when I completed 70.3 Mallorca recently, which I did bang on the time that I wanted to in 30-degree heat, I ran a PB half marathon off the bike, which obviously I'm super stoked with. I would say to anybody considering joining Team Oxygenaddict, just go ahead and do it. We are a lovely bunch of people. Rob is always available to ask questions, but also the people on the forum, if you have had a bad training week or you've got questions on kit, people are always available to just offload on. Definitely go for it. It will be the best money you ever spent, and I look forward to seeing you in the forum.
So if you're looking for some coaching, you want to get the best out of yourself at any triathlon event this year or next year, we've got you covered at Team Oxygenaddict. We've got options for training plans, Team Oxygenaddict coaching, and even bespoke one-to-one coaching with me or Susie Richards, who's another one of our bespoke coaches. So you can just contact us through the contact form on the website there. All right, now before we get to this week's interview of the week, we've got a couple of shout outs to our sponsors. Firstly, foodsell.co.uk have reduced their price by £5 down to $39.99. They are what I consider to be the best top tube nutritional carrier on the market. You can get 4 of those big fat gels or 2 massive chunks of food and flapjack in there, even a spares kit. It's really sleek and aerodynamic, keeps your spares kit out of the wind, it keeps your food out of the wind, it means you have to stuff it into the pockets on the back of your jersey and keeps you super aerodynamic. You can open and close this with one finger as you're riding, which doesn't sound important until you try and do it with one of the other ones on the market and find you're faffing around trying to get your whole hand in to get something out. So it's a really well thought out product. I'm really, really impressed with it, and I know you won't be disappointed with the product if you go ahead and buy one. So you can check those out at foodsell.co.uk. And also a shout out to sponsors precisionhydration.com. They've got a whole range of different products for electrolytes at different strengths available for you, all the way from 250 milligrams to 1,500 milligrams of sodium per bottle of drink. Now, for someone like me, an incredibly salty sweater, I was having horrible difficulties with both cramp and sometimes being really, really ill after very long distance races due to hyponatremia. And it was entirely down to not having enough sodium in my system during races. Since I've switched to pH, that's entirely solved that problem for me. Loads of my athletes report the same thing. Massively reduced levels of cramp when they've been swimming when they take pH. So it's definitely working for them. You can try it for... You get $9.99's worth of free product using the code Oxygenaddict on their website. So it's almost like a risk-free trial. It is a risk-free trial. And also you can take their online sweat test on their website. They've got some great questions there that'll give you a lead as to whether you are a particularly salty or heavy sweater. And then that way it can help you choose the right product for you. So you can check them out over at precisionhydration.com. All right, guys, thanks for sitting through our promotional adverts there. It really helps us because obviously these guys keep the lights on of the show. So thanks very much for listening and not fast forwarding through those. And now we're going to move on to Helen's interview of the week with India Lee.
India Lee, hello and welcome to the Oxygenaddict Triathlon Podcast. How are you?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm very well, thank you.
You've just got back from St. Moritz, beautiful part of the world.
I have, it's absolutely stunning. I mean, I'm not sorry to be home because I'm in beautiful Bath, but it was an amazing few weeks to be out there.
It is a stunning country, and we can chat more about, we can share our love for Switzerland in a little bit. First of all, for those who maybe don't know you, can you give us a little bit of a top hits?
I'm obviously a triathlete, which is why I'm on the triathlon podcast.
Yes.
I race a vast number of distances, from sprint distance, Olympic distance, and then I've just started doing 70.3s this year. I've won a couple of those races, and I won a World Cup sprint distance, and I won European Olympic distance. So
yeah, European champion 2016.
Yeah. I'm still living off it.
Quite right too.
Thanks. Haven't let it go yet.
Now, you have come from a running background, didn't you? More than a sort of a swim, bike, run background.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I ran until 2013, and then I started doing a few more triathlons. But I've still always carried on doing running races because I love it.
And were you one of those kids were you always made to do the 800 and the 1500 meters at school when no one else wanted to?
Yeah, I was like the weird kid who wanted to do it rather than being made to do it. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do 400 as well. I'll do every event I can. Everybody else is like, oh, shut up, just go eat your packed lunch. I'm like, no, let's go running.
So then, were you always very good at it?
Yeah, I think that's probably why I enjoyed it, because it was the first thing that I discovered that I was pretty good at. And I enjoyed winning, so I just carried on doing it.
And some of the people that you train with now, did you used to run against them when you were younger?
Yeah, so I train with Vicky Holland now, and I actually got into my first England schools team as a junior girl for cross country, and she was an intergirl, so the age group above me, on the same England team, and she's actually got a photo of us from those days. Well, I'm 4.5 foot tall. I was so small, and she's got this massive hair. It's so funny. But so yeah, I used to race against her, and now I train with her. It's pretty cool.
And did you when did you realise that you had both been in that same team? This sounds stupid, but would you have actually known at the time? Because obviously different age groups, would you have actually sort of...
because you always sort of recognise people's names who do well. And we were like sort of the same age. She was the age group above me, so I would have always been aware of her. And then what's weird actually is my first memory of triathlon, which makes me sound like quite silly, but was the 2012 Olympics in London. I was walking through Hyde Park, and I wasn't there to watch the triathlon. I was there with my brother, and we were walking through Hyde Park, and they were just on the run of the triathlon, and they said Vicky's name over the tannoy, and I was like, Vicky Holland? I used to run with a Vicky Holland. And then obviously I went and like looked at
Googled it.
Yeah, I went and Googled it, and I was like, oh my god, that's her. So yeah, and then the next year I started doing triathlon. Not because of that, but
I was going to say, did that spark a little? Spark a bit of an interest though? I
think that meant that I was like, oh, I wonder what this triathlon game's all about. And then I'd just got back from America, and I thought, yeah, I'd fancy doing something different, and so that's why I gave triathlon a go. Oh
my god! So going back to Hyde Park with your brother, did you even know that the Olympic distance, triathlon was on?
I think we were a bit aware of it, but I wasn't really I didn't follow triathlon at all.
Yeah.
I knew it was this thing that was like swim, bike and run. But other than that, we weren't like, oh, let's go to Hyde Park to watch.
You were just walking through Hyde Park.
We were like literally just walking through because he lived near it, and we were going through London.
You're like, I can't get through. There are too many people. Yeah, what's going on?
Like, what is going on here? Like, all these people are in my way. Vicky Holland, what? So yeah.
That's really funny. So then, okay, roll on then the next year, and you do your first triathlon. What was your first triathlon, and how much of a chopper were you then?
I wasn't that much of a chopper because I tried really hard not to be a chopper, which to this day, my biggest concern, my first 70.3 was, am I going to look like a chopper? So I worked hard for not looking like a chopper, but my first race was Blenheim.
Okay.
So I managed to get into the elite race based on run times.
Really? I
was like, look, I'm an all right runner. Please, can I go in the elite race? And they let me in. I think I had someone vouching that I could swim the time, so that was right.
And what was your biking like at that point?
My biking was okay. Like, I was strong. Technically, I was pretty bad, but I could just get my head down and ride pretty hard, so I was okay.
So did you do a lot of training specifically for that Blenheim triathlon?
No, I was just training generally, and then I thought I'll go and do Blenheim, and I think I'd done a couple of duathlons, and so I'd sort of done a multi-sport race, and then Blenheim was the first opportunity I had to do a full triathlon, and I think in my head I thought, I'll do a few triathlons this year, and that was just the first one.
Wow. And did you love it did you just love it from the very start?
Yeah, I really loved it. I was like, this is for sure for me. So yeah.
How did you do at the Blenheim race?
I think I came 12th. So yeah.
In the elite field in your first ever triathlon?
Yeah.
Natural talent?
I think I just worked hard.
That's amazing.
Stubborn.
No, that is amazing. Stubborn. So then, how did you then end up, 3 years later, being European champion?
I'm not sure. Like, obviously I trained really hard, and I just had a lot of scope to improve, I think, especially swimming. and I just worked really hard for 3 years, and then I was really determined that it's what I wanted to do, and I always knew from a young age that I wanted to be able to be a full-time sports person, which sounds really stupid.
No, it doesn't.
To some people, but I'm like, I don't know, I've just always thought that that's what I'm going to end up doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started triathlon. I was like, I think this is going to be for me. And then for 3 years, I literally just trained really hard and got to the level where I was... Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, so at the beginning then, when you were, 2013, 2014,
yeah,
I guess even, going into 2015, were you sort of living at home, or did you manage to get any funding at that point to actually be able to continue training?
No, I was living at home, and then I had the support of my parents, which is amazing, obviously, because I'm living at home, and so that reduces costs quite a bit. And then I was just literally going from race to race, hoping I win a bit of prize money that would then be able to fund me to get to the next race. And then I just worked on it like that, really.
And then how did you end up as part of the sort of GB setup?
So that was based off my year in 2016. I won Europeans, and then I'd also won a World Cup that year, and then that fulfilled criteria for me to get onto funding. And I got onto funding, and I stayed in Winchester at home for another year, and then in 2018 I decided to come to Bath.
That is rapid. So with the with the European, we can carry on mentioning it. European Champion 2016.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Please do. Yeah.
But with that
it used to be on my Instagram bio. It's not anymore. I thought the time's come to take that off. 2 years is long enough.
I'll carry on talking about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's absolutely fine. But with that, British Triathlon would enter athletes into it, right? So did they pick you in the elite race, or did you have to keep on knocking at their door, or quite what?
No. So because it's a championship,
yep,
they would have selected the team for that, and so in 2015, it was obviously it's a year before the Olympics, so it's the equivalent of this year.
Yep,
and they have what's called a gateway race, which is usually a European Cup level race, which a lot of people can get starts for. And they'll have criteria for that. For example, if you finish on the podium and you're the first Brit, then you can get a start at the Olympic selection race,
yep,
or the Olympic test event. And so I actually did that in 2015. Which was, I had the best race of my life to date, 2000 in European Cup, and I came third, which meant I qualified for the Olympic test event in Rio. And so then I went to Rio,
yep,
and did obviously the test event, and I was so out of my depth. I think I came 49th or something. It was, on one hand, it was absolutely horrendous because I had no clue what I was doing, but I also was never going to turn down that kind of opportunity. No. So I went. And then I also went to the World Series final that year as well in Chicago, and I think I came 49th there as well. And I was I don't know, I must have been 5 minutes behind the winner, and it was horrendous. But on the other hand, it was great because I was it made me realise how far away I was from being competitive at that level. And so then I went away, worked really hard in the winter on my swimming and technical skills and running, basically on everything. Basically, I just trained all winter.
Yeah.
And then went into 2016, and then I won that World Cup. And then I think that's what qualified me for the Europeans. I can't really remember, but basically it was a set of criteria. Such a word. Yeah.
And that, I mean, that experience though in Rio must have been a complete emotional craziness, because obviously you'd be like, oh my god, these are the best in the world, yet there's a bit of you that's like, I really don't belong here at all.
Oh yeah, like I knew that I didn't really belong there, but also I thought, no, I've earned the right to be here because I came third in that race. Yeah, I met the criteria, and that means that I can be here. So I'm not going to say, oh no, I'm not ready for that. So I went, and then it just showed me how much I needed to improve, and it was also an amazing experience because I got to hang out with all those girls who now I'm friends with, and I'm like, lol to that time where I had no clue what I was doing.
And did it also make you think, I want to go to Tokyo?
Yeah. I thought, well, I can see what these girls are doing. They're not doing anything that's rocket science. They're just like working hard. They've just been doing it longer than I have. They're consistent, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, if they can do it, I could do it. Like, well, I can give it a try at least. So yeah, it was good.
And are you with the same coach that you were with at that time? No. So I moved to Bath in 2018 to be coached by Reese Davey, who coaches Vicky. So yeah, bit of a change there. And how is it? What was it like moving to Bath?
Oh, it was one of the most daunting things I've done in my life, I think, because I was really happy in Winchester. Things were going well, but I knew that I needed more if I wanted to get better. And I just needed a bit of a change up, really, because things were getting a bit stale. And so, yeah, it was daunting. And for the first year, it was really hard because I kept getting ill and nothing seemed to be going right. And I thought I'd made the worst decision of my life. And then, probably this time last year, it started to turn around a bit. And yeah, now I'm really happy that I made that decision.
And what would have helped with the turnaround, do you think?
I think I just got a bit unlucky with illnesses, and I moved here, and obviously when you move somewhere new, you're like, oh, I really want to prove that I've done the right thing. Like, it's a big decision. I want to prove to everyone that I've made the right decision, and I wanted to perform. And I had one good race, and then for the rest of the year, I think I pulled out of 2 or 3 races. I never pull out of races just because I was ill and I was exhausted and forcing everything. I'm not really sure what could have helped with that other than not getting ill.
Yeah. And then whose decision would it have been to do your first 70.3, which was Weymouth, right?
Yeah, that's right. So that was my decision. So I got to the end of the season and I was pretty low because I hadn't had any good races, and I was really frustrated just with the fact that I'd moved and I was really struggling. And so Reece said, go away for 2 weeks, don't do anything, just take some time just to regroup, and then come back to Bath and we'll decide what we're going to do for the winter, and then what we're going to do leading into next year. And so I literally had it was 5 weeks before Weymouth. I'd had 2 weeks off of just not doing much, and then I came back to Bath and I was like, Reece, I want to go and do a 70.3 just for a bit of fun, something that's zero pressure, a change of focus, but it's also gonna give me a goal to work towards. So then he was like, yeah, cool, fine, let's do it. And so I did, I think, 3 weeks of training going into it, and I loved the training because it's all the kind of thing that I like doing, long threshold runs, long rides, a little bit less pressure on swimming, and then went into Weymouth and absolutely loved it, even though it was the most horrendous day ever.
Otherwise.
Yeah, it was awful. I think, well, for most of the time leading into it, I thought, oh, they're just going to cancel it, never mind. And then it's like 5 minutes before the start, and I was like, oh, right, okay, it's not cancelled. Here we go. Yeah, just got on with it. I really loved it, yeah.
And had you spent any time other than those 3 weeks on a time trial bike before?
No, I think and even then I wasn't enjoying riding a time trial bike, and so I kept sneaking out on my road bike. I'd like go for a ride. I'd meet people for a ride, and they'd be like, "Indy, aren't you supposed to be on a time trial bike?" I'm like, "Yeah, don't tell Reese." Like, yeah, I fancied riding this today. So I think I'd ridden a time trial bike maybe like 6 times before I did that race, and it really showed. It really showed in the race.
Have you grown to love it this year?
I've grown to love it, yeah. Even though every now and then I'll sneak out on my road bike when I should be on my time trial bike. It's just more fun.
But don't tell anyone. It's fine. No one needs to
If
hear
no one sees me, it's fine.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
It's even worse when I sneak out on a mountain bike. That's really wrong.
Is that just a winter thing, or is that a do you do a bit more sneaking? That's
like when nobody is in Bath. That's when everyone's away and there's no risk of anyone seeing me. And then I'm like, oh, sorry, Reese, my Garmin ran out of battery. That is what happened. That's why there's no record of it.
So when did you get a mountain bike?
I've had one for ages. Usually I'll ride it through the winter, just because when the weather's a bit rubbish, it's easier to go out on a mountain bike than a road bike and get absolutely soaked. If you're going to get soaked, you might as well get muddy.
True, very, very true. And would you like to do more mountain bike stuff?
Yeah, I love mountain biking. It's a bit risky, isn't it?
Yeah. Are you into Are you into descending and technical stuff?
Yeah,
Reese isn't listening. Don't worry.
Oh no, he's all right. He's all right with it. It's just there's a time and a place for it, India. And it's not when you're supposed to be doing your long ride on a Wednesday. Yeah. Through the winter, I love riding my mountain bike more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just obviously it's a little bit riskier when you're trying to get ready for a race.
For the World Championships or something.
Yeah, for the World Championships. It's probably best not to ride a mountain bike.
Maybe not. So did winning Weymouth then qualify you for Nice 70.3 World Champs in the next few weeks? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I thought, probably do those. So you basically have known for a year that 70.3 World Champs are the target.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love it. And how did Edmonton come into it? Because you actually recently went and did the WTS in Edmonton, and you were part of the mixed relay team. Was that part of the plan?
That wasn't part of the plan until probably 2 weeks before Edmonton. I was packing to go to St. Moritz on training camp, and I got a call from Reese saying, would I be up for going to Edmonton to do the mixed relay? And I thought, yeah, I would actually. So off I went from Switzerland, from up a mountain. I had to get to Edmonton, but it was worth it because we came second, and it was really good. It was a good weekend, actually.
Did your kit arrive?
Did my kit arrive?
Yeah, or did someone's kit
not
arrive?
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh, yeah. My bike didn't arrive. So I actually raced on a borrowed bike. So I raced on Beth Potter's bike, who's a lot shorter than me, and her bike definitely didn't fit me. But my bike actually arrived in Edmonton the day that I left.
Handy.
Which was really, really useful. Yeah, I really loved that.
So how did you then sort of stay calm when stuff like that, that's really not what you want, is it, before a race? How did you actually? How did you stay calm?
I'm not sure, really. I think on the outside, I appeared to stay calm, but inside I was really freaking out because I was like, brilliant. Like, I haven't got my bike. I didn't even have a helmet, my bike shoes, anything. The only things that I had, because they were in my hand luggage, were my race suit and my running shoes. And so everything else I had to borrow, like goggles, hat. We went and bought bike shoes, which were the most hideous things you've ever seen in your life. Like, you were talking about Chopper earlier. They were fluorescent pink and yellow, and forever, for the rest of my life, people are going to be mocking me for those.
Did you choose them?
They were, look, okay, I chose them, but they were the only ones available in the shop, so technically I didn't choose them. Did I choose them? I was trying to work out ways to like spray them black or something. And I thought, no, that's more hassle. Don't need to do that. So yeah, I basically went to Edmonton and raced with everything borrowed, which is really cool.
Did you take them back after the race?
No, I left them in the British Triathlon kit bag.
Okay.
And it's gonna be a forfeit for somebody who does something stupid, that they have to wear them to like a bike recce or something.
Oh, that must have been a really crappy situation, because obviously you get the call up, from British Triathlon. You kind of, you want to go out there, you want to prove yourself, and then half your kit doesn't arrive. Yeah,
and especially your bike as well, because when you jump on your bike in the middle of a race, everything, it's just like intuition, isn't it? Like,
yep.
Or you know what to do with the gears, everything. And Beth's bike was set up just completely different from mine. Like, the gears were all on opposite sides, and it's just the little things in the middle of a race when you're trying to jump on someone's wheel and change gear really quickly, and then everything's all over the place. So yeah, that was really frustrating, but I think I did okay under the circumstances.
I think you did pretty fine.
Probably
silver.
Probably could have done better. Yeah, but I still got silver, which is so cool.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
So, how are you feeling then ahead of the 70.3 World Champs in Nice? Have you been out to recce the course? What's it like?
Yeah, I went out to recce the course a few weeks ago. Yeah, I really liked it. It's pretty tough. It's literally about 10k of flat, and then uphill, get to halfway, downhill, like 10k of flat to get back into the middle of Nice. So it's really different to any other course that I've done for 70.3. It'd be really interesting, actually. I mean, it's going to be hard, but it'll be good.
And then will 70.3's going to be again the main focus for next year as well?
Yeah, I think so. I'm really enjoying them. It's totally different to WTS and Olympic distance racing. Just like the vibe at races is so much more relaxed. The fact that you get to pick and choose where you race is a big bonus for me. Like, you're not relying on whether you're going to get a start or not. You can literally choose when you want to race and go. And I enjoy the distance. I enjoy the training for it as well. So yeah, I'm definitely going to carry on next year.
And I guess, well, it might sort of be a bit of a complicated one, but if you're on the Olympic podium potential squad this year, I guess if you were to just focus on 70.3s, then that would be unlikely to sort of carry on next year, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But then I still want to carry on racing some Olympic distance stuff. And, like, you never know what's going to happen next year with, like, what they're going to do about selection races. And, like, yeah, you never know what's going to happen. So
keeps it interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
What is the weirdest thing that you've fixed?
The weirdest thing I've fixed?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I fix everything.
Yeah.
I hate stuff that's broken. Like, I'll see something that's broken, it drives me mad, and so I'll just fix it. What is the weirdest thing I fixed? I don't know. I feel like Susie Cheatham set you up for that question.
No. It said on your bio. Honestly, it says on your bio you have a weird ability to fix things. So.
Oh my god, I do. We fixed Vicky's bike when we were away. Her DIT wasn't working, so there's a crack team of 3 of us fixing her bike. Oh my god, I can't think what I fixed. Oh my god, give me an IKEA set though. Love it.
Really?
I'll build any IKEA furniture. Yeah.
Would that be like your sort of dream rest day?
Yeah, dream rest day. I don't want to go to IKEA. I just want the stuff there ready to go.
So if anyone is moving house in the Bath area, then just give Indy a call.
Yeah, that's my post-triathlon career, building IKEA furniture.
And I believe that Laura Siddle is also a massive fan of chocolate buttons. So at some point you might need to have a chocolate button demolish off or eat off.
Oh my god, I would totally win. Like, oh my gosh, give me like a cup of coffee, a packet of chocolate buttons, I'm happy.
And an IKEA flat pack.
And an IKEA flat pack. Oh my god, dream afternoon. That's brilliant.
And then when it's getting tough on the run part of a triathlon, what mental tactics do you use to get through it?
I count a lot, which makes you sound psycho.
No, honestly, no, it doesn't. You are really not the first person to say that at all.
So I count to 100, and I know that if I count to 100, that's a minute, and then I'll start again. But sometimes when I get to like the real last stages of a race, I'll forget what number I'm on. And so then I just start again. Get to like 15, I'm like, 1, 2.
And have you done the counting thing since you were? Have you done it since you were really young? You know, doing like 3K and sort of cross country and stuff, or is it a more recent thing?
I've done it probably only since I started doing triathlon, I think. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I told one of my friends to count, and we were on a run yesterday, and she said, I had a race last weekend and I tried the counting thing, but I just couldn't count quick enough. I was like, what do you mean like you couldn't count quick enough? She's like, I was counting every step, and I was like, no, you just count like every time your left leg goes down. She's like, oh, that is much easier. She's there trying to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm like, no, slow it down. It's so funny.
Oh, no, you really are not the first person to bring the counting thing in, and I guess it takes your mind off.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So it's a good mental trick. There we go. Indy, it's been great to chat. Good luck for the 70.3 World Championships.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Okay, so a cracking interview there with India. And that brings us to the end of this week's show. Thanks very much to our sponsors, precisionhydration.com, foodsell.co.uk, and teamoxygenaddict.com. Until next week, thanks very much for listening. I'll be back with Helen next week with a normal recorded show between the both of us, which will be awesome. We'll be at the end of our summer holidays then. Until then, guys, have a great, safe training and racing week, and I'll speak to you all again soon. Cheers, everyone. See ya.